Today at NDTV Profit, we are talking about defense. I'm Anushi Vakharia and currently I'm in Hyderabad at Zen Technologies demo facility. Here we'll be discussing all that the company offers. We'll be talking about simulation, about counter-drone, anti-systems, and along with that, we'll also be talking about the integration of AI and how that's going to shape up the defense space going forward. In fact, I caught up with the management, that's Mr. Ashok Atluri, the chairman and the managing director of the company. Let's listen into what all that he had to say. It's been a great pleasure to be here at the demo facility in Hyderabad with you to understand the overall journey of how Zen has started. And what is also interesting is your journey from simulators to counter-drone, wherein a similar product was used in Operation Sindoor as well. So just talk to us and give us a picture about what has your journey been like so far.
So we started in 1993 as, we were doing multiple things, but then we took a call that, like it's computer, software, they're becoming commodity products. What is the product that we could really have built long IP and something that is not available in India? So the first simulator that we thought about was a small arms training simulator because ranges were becoming scarcer and scarcer. So the small arms training simulator was our first product, and then we tried to sell it for 3 years,
Right.
But again we would have the same problem which the new company, have you sold it somewhere else? So that was the issue we faced initially, yeah.
So, Mr. Atluri, I just want to understand about the IP model that you speak about. How does that make you differentiate versus the other defense players? Because, after 2016, there has been changes in the defense procurement procedure as well. This particular model has helped to keep your business asset light, as well as maintain your margins in the 30 to 35% of range as well. So, just want to understand the overall importance of this IP model that you had.
So, one thing we really wanted to understand, do was that, if we don't own the IP, we don't own the product.
Right.
If you just get the TOT or become a manufacturing partner for somebody, this is not what India would want, because with the technology evolving very fast, we would want the latest in the technology to be given. So the IP ownership became a very key. So 1993 when we started it, even though it took us 3 years to sell it, but the idea was we had a very early patent on that, and the patent was something that we really believe in. And given the fact, why we say IP is very important is, let us take the Operation Sindoor, recently that happened, the skirmish happened. The government has come up with a requirement that, these are the changes. Now the threat has evolved from what, and it's a very fast evolving threat. It has evolved, and these are the new changes we want. And, we have said, okay, fine, these are the changes we're willing to do, and we have got the order for upgrading the existing system.
Okay.
And again, unless you are able to do this at a component level and a deep software level, you cannot accommodate these changes. Imagine if you had to get from a vendor the TOT and you want to do the changes, they will say ITAR clearance, foreign vendor clearance, so many things are there. But when India owns the IP, India can say, listen, I want this to be done. So that is the advantage of IP ownership.
So, Mr. Atluri, we spoke about your journey since then, how even the defense procurement procedure has aided you. That is visible in the kind of revenue growth also that we've seen from FY21 to 25. It's about 100% CAGR that we are looking at. But now coming to FY26, we did see a couple of delays in where these order wins were concerned. Of course, with emergency procurement taking precedence over where the simulator orders were. So just want to get a picture in terms of how FY26 is going to shape up. While that is on the muted side, what could be the FY27 and 28 growth levers going forward?
So, again, we were expecting some regular simulator orders to come little early, but because of the operational requirement being urgent, government pedaled on the emergency procurement, which is kind of helped us in the sense that, they started buying. So one of these orders, the 289 crore order that we got yesterday, was one such order that came much faster than the regular simulator order. So we were expecting simulator orders worth almost 600 crores to 650 crores to come in, but but they are in the process. It's a question of when, no longer, it's never a question of if. So I think, things are moving very fast. We'll get more orders. And again, we have built such a good product that, it's not only India, but overseas market also that they are doing it. Again, we are giving it a one solution. Imagine that, whereas other vendors they're trying to go to Israel, they're going to go to local. It's almost like Nehru Place, you go and assemble a computer versus buying a Mac and Apple thing. So that is what you're getting from Zen. So I think that is there. Again, just referring to your IDDM thing, till IDDM came into picture, we were actually having a lot of problems in the sense that when we would develop some product which was world class, people would, the government would ask, you have developed, we like the product, but they would say, we want 3 vendors. This is the first time in India somebody has developed. How can you ask 2 or 3 vendors when this is the first time? And sometimes we have developed product that is first in the world. And still the question was, we cannot create a monopoly, we cannot create a single vendor, we will get more. So they would dilute the specification and get more vendors. But that was actually a problem. That means to say, real innovators were being punished, they are not being given orders. But this thing changed when Mr. Parikar came and he understood the problem and introduced Buy Indian IDDM, in which he said, even if there is a single vendor, we are okay as long as it is designed and developed in India. And he had this larger vision that instead of punishing these innovators, we should encourage them and make them global leaders in that segment. That's exactly what happened with Zen. Today in army simulators, we are number 1 in the world. As we speak, we are trying to get leadership position in anti-drone systems also.
Yes.
So this is what the agenda was, which was behind Buy Indian IDDM, and that is being achieved. So, if this thing continues, I think there will be a lot of global leaders who will emerge from India, not only in this segment, but in other segments also.
So anti-drone systems, as you spoke about that came into picture since 2018.
Yes.
Right? And recently there have been tenders floating for that also, in which you expect order wins in the next 2 to 3 months. Apart from that, you spoke about the new order wins in the simulator side of the business. That is also roughly around the count of about 650 crore that we are looking at. So taking the current order book in picture, which is about 675 crore or so, where do you see, if you just take in account the near term as well, FY 27-28, where do you see this order book increasing to with all of these new inflows over there?
So, I think the orders will start increasing in size as we go, and while the overall requirement will also keep increasing, we think that our order execution will be very, very high in 27 FY 28. But again, we have to book the order book position into a couple of thousand crores by the end of FY 26. So we are going in that direction. We feel that we should be having a healthy order book position in this year itself. So I think we are comfortable with our prediction.
Can you just speak about the execution part of it? Like, what is the kind of timelines that you see across your both segments in terms of how order execution shapes up? Because in first half, we did see about a revenue downtick of around 30% or odd so. So just want to get a picture forward now with a higher uptick in this order inflows, which would support the visibility also going forward. What's the execution going to shape up like?
So, we have executed at almost 300 crores a quarter at this,
right.
in a high time. So I think our ability to execute will be there with just the order book position. So generally, none of the people we know actually doubt our ability to execute. They think the execution is again, as you said, the asset light model is that we have outsourced manufacturing and we have very, very competent supply chain with spare capacity. So as we go ahead, I think up to 2,000 crores, we should not be having any problem. And we think very confident about that, yeah.
Okay, that is great. So 2,000 crores is the number that we should be watching out for. So, Mr. Atluri, right now we are standing in the Infantry Weapon Training Center. I had a great chance to take a couple of shots here with the simulation as well. And, in your con calls, you have also now mentioned about integration of AI. So, just want to understand your AI strategy as well, because now this is the talk of the whole world that we are looking at.
So, there are two things. One is AI is at a process level, so, from your recruitment, your, R&D, your engineering, production and all that. So that process-based thing, we have created our own LLMs at a department level, and they have their own chat GPTs and their Groks, and they're doing that work. So that is one thing that's successfully done. I think I would say about 80% is done. And with respect to the second category is actually making your products AI intelligent, AI native we call them. So how do you build that product? For example, the fastest way to learn any skill set is having one-on-one coaching with a very, very good expert. So, so if there are 60 students sitting, the fastest teaching will happen according to the slowest student. But if you have a guy who's, there are 60 top instructors, teaching this class will move very, very fast. The top guy will really go ahead. So this is exactly what happens when AI becomes native in another thing. So it judges a trainee and says, okay, this guy has this weaknesses, and coaches them to become a good expert shot or a marksman. So this is what is happening. So this intelligence is built into a product like IWTS. Now we are working to get it into all future products also. AI is an absolutely integral strategy where we'll cut down the training time, not only training time, but even in anti-drone system, the ability to assess threat and neutralize the threats. Everywhere AI is a very integral part of what Zen is doing at this point in time. And I think we should be one of the most AI-fied defense companies in the world. We are not aiming for India, but we are really aiming
so
for
far,
the world.
we have it in one product category, and then you're rapidly going to...
No, it is there across many products, but we are really increasing the amount of AI that is there as we go into the further R&D that we are doing. It is across many products, including our anti-drone system has the AI. But we really are increasing the content of AI into each of them.
So, Mr. Atluri, we spoke about the execution part of it. FY26, while we will see about a muted sort of a growth, I just want to understand the picture forward. For FY28, you have a target which is 6,000 crore of a top line. Now, if you take FY26 as 1,000 crore of a top line, we are looking at about a 6x growth from those levels. You're maintaining your CAGR rate, which you've seen in the past as well. Just want to understand, what are the key growth levers, any product categories in specific that you can say that this would lead to this kind of growth that we are looking at?
So the first thing is that, we said 6,000 crores for 3 financial years cumulatively. Okay. And this year we are not so sure, I think it will be a muted year. So I'm not even saying muted growth. So having that, what I'm saying is whatever is the gap, we will cover it in the year FY27 and 28. So that's what our hope is, and given the current situation, that looks very likely. And so, so I think that thing can be achieved. And where are we expecting this growth from? One is, and the simulators. Again, why simulators have suddenly become, why not in so many years is, one thing is that, government has started focusing on training. And earlier, you remember, 5 years, 6 years back, we thought war was just not unthinkable. Then Armenia, Azerbaijan happened. Then Ukraine, Russia happened. Now, even Thailand and Cambodia are fighting. So all the countries are now worried about war knocking on their door. So these people are now saying preparation is an essential thing. So suddenly simulators and training equipment have gone up. Of course, anti-drone system, I don't have to tell you, everybody is worried about drone threats across board. So these are the two things. And in addition to that, we have acquired, this companies like ARI, UTS is really growing up well. There are some other companies that we'll acquire. So I think cumulatively achieving 6,000 should be is our target. And looks achievable at this point in time.
I just want to speak about the acquisition point that you made. So in FY25, we saw about 4 acquisitions. ARI, you're marking your entry in maritime and naval sector with that. Along with that, what are we looking at is also Vector Techniques, in which now you'll be focusing on drone ecosystem as well. Then you have your robotics business as well as, even the aerospace is what we are looking at going forward. So just want to understand these 4 acquisitions that are there, what's the kind of contribution that we'll see? Like for now, while the subsidiaries contribution is modest, when is the kind of expected ramp up that we'll see in all of these acquisitions, and which areas in particular is something that you want to expand in a meaningful manner going forward?
So I think for example, ARA is going into naval in a big way. So I think they will become a very big contributor of revenue. UTS is doing really great business. So that is in anti-drone system they'll be doing, but they're doing all their own business of electronic warfare. Some of the components they're developing themselves. They do some serious R&D. So that will add something. And again, as you said that we're looking for some more acquisitions in the air force, air simulation space. That I think is going to happen sooner than later. So given all this thing, and addition to that, we got a Vector Technique, which is a drone component components company and TISA, which is into loitering munitions. So we are trying to really ramp up those products. Again, unless I really feel that product is, is absolutely world class, me and my team wouldn't want to throw it onto the Indian Army or Indian Armed Forces. So we really want to develop those products. So we think a cumulative of all these efforts, the subsidiaries and the products that we have should be able to help us achieve the target of cumulative 6,000 crore.
6,000 crore of top line. And currently, what is the kind of contribution of all these 4 subsidiaries that we are looking at?
At this point in time, maybe about 20% or so, yeah.
Maybe 20% or so. And the biggest growth driver, I'm assuming, is ARI.
Yes,
right?
ARI and UTS also, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, what is the competition like? Even your recent order win that we've seen about 37 crore, this is for the anti-drone side of it that we are looking at in hard capabilities. Over there, you were the only vendor to succeed in so. So just want to understand the competition scenario as well.
So, the thing is, if it is just buy Indian where they can get foreign technology and try to push it thing, that is something that, then generally the, foreign suppliers almost like try to undercut the capability and they undercut the price. So those are the very rare circumstances. But in IDDM, where the government actually sees whether the code is, there is malware, any cyber security threat is there, if the hardware design our Indian or not, where the mechanical is there. As we said, we saw that in Israeli attack, pager attack. What happened? They had pagers. Yeah. The hardware was explosive. So how do we know that the hardware that we are buying, without examining its software code, how do you know it is safe, will be operational in war? There is no guarantee. But if in our hurry or something, we ignore the IDDM paradigm and go for buy Indian, I think that will be very, very harmful to us. And those are the cases where Zen may also lose the kind of a thing. But if they really focus on indigenous Indian IP-owned products, I think there is no way India can be, it will win. It's a win for Zen and for India.
Currently, while you have a margin of around 30 to 35%, expecting a subsequent pickup in terms of where the anti-drone segment is also concerned. You spoke about the importance of that, but can you just emphasize going forward with the increasing mix of this particular segment, considering the overall macro picture also, how would the margin shape up?
I think we are going to do a lot of deep R&D at this point in time, and with those special features, I think we will be able to really, again, the cutting edge features, we will be able to give more value to the customer and able to maintain those 35% EBITDA margin and a 25% PAT margin. That's what we have been communicating to the investors. And we think that as of now, we are comfortable with giving guidance of those margins.
What's the difference between simulators and anti-drones margins?
So actually, simulators are much better margins because much more deep R&D. We have worked on 30 years in them. And especially, even though domestic markets are less, export markets are better margins. And then anti-drone systems are little lesser than the simulator market. I think your intuition is right about that, yeah.
Okay, so just on that export market also I want to speak about. Now, you are eyeing for opportunities there. I think you've spoken about Middle East, Africa, these regions wherein you're looking for a higher mix. Currently, we are looking at about 18% of a mix in terms of your order book coming from the export side of the business. What's the kind of opportunity that you see in exports also, considering even governments need to ramp up their to ramp up the exports is what we are looking at? Yeah,
so government is really pushing to do exports, and that's almost become a mandate to the embassies. Please help them achieve. Yeah. So you are absolutely right. So we are focusing on countries like Middle East, Africa, CIS countries. Now, thanks to ARI, they have a good outpost in Singapore. So Singapore, we are trying to reach it to Southeast Asia, including Taiwan, Japan, and all. They're very good inroads. So they have a relationship. So they're very, very difficult markets to break. Markets like Japan, they really want people known to them. So that relationship is already there. So we will be getting into these markets also, and I think and these threats are evolving and our products are really robust. I think they will contribute much more than 20%. I think we are aiming to get at least 30% of revenues from exports.
The margins. Yeah. Can you just give us a breakup for domestics and export also, how the margins differ?
It would be difficult depending on customer to customer, but domestic are more constrained at lesser margins. But export, because of all the risks that we actually have to install, maintain them. We don't know where it will, then we have to send a team to maintain that. So we have larger margins, fortunately, because our products are very robust.
So, would you be looking for inorganic acquisitions for outside the country as well? Because if I just look at your net cash position, that's about 110 crore. You've had a capital raise last year, I believe in August 24 or so. So, considering all of these opportunities that we are looking at, just want to understand the picture in terms of with your inorganic acquisitions in place, how would the balance sheet shape up? And what's the kind of number that we should be watching out for?
Yeah, so it's about 1,100 crores altogether, because 1,000 crores we had raised and another.
Yes.
So about 1,000 plus crores, I could say. And we have deployed most of the money already in the, that about 600 crores plus have been deployed. But still the cash generation was so high that, we still have 1,000 plus crores. So we are looking at acquisitions both in the India domestic market and overseas market. So it's a continuous ongoing, and obviously we can't tell preemptively because, things may go spiral out of control. We don't know whether they'll happen or not. Some things have happened, some haven't. But, again, we are a company that is focused on IP-rich companies. We don't care whether they're currently making profits or not. Second is their ability to their capabilities. So IP-rich and capabilities. If they have deep capabilities, they can deliver great products. We want to acquire them. We frankly, how to generate profit is something that we know. If they develop great products, we know we can sell them to the customers.
So for that, what's the kind of R&D also that you're focusing on? 14 crore is what we saw in the first half of FY26. So would there be a ramp up in the subsequent years? Or
so, even technically, when we let us say that we do say for 30, 40 crores so, over a year, but the point here is that all the acquisitions that you do, in ARI acquisition, why did we acquire the company? Because they have so much of R&D done.
Yeah.
If you look at UTS, when we acquired, they already had a bit of IP, but over a period of time, all the money that we have developed have gone there. So, when you look into this complete, and what we are doing with Vector now, with TISA, so all these are R&D expenditures. That is, even though we are just capturing the R&D that's happening in only in Zen, I think we are deepening our commitment both at the parent level and at the subsidiary level. And of course, the acquisition itself is the IP acquisition more than anything, as I told you earlier. So we think that we will be doing more R&D expenditure. Again, the point here is the only way you can get a global leadership is by doing a deep R&D and ensuring that the product is cutting edge. So,
and we were just speaking about that, in terms of tie-ups also to expand your global presence with any global OEMs that you're seeing or any opportunity there?
So, our thing is that, one thing is that we need to access the software. We cannot give to the government something which we haven't seen and we don't know for safe. So we are looking for partners who are willing to partner and share the technology with us and co-develop the next generation program with us. We don't want to be, you hear the technology, set up a factory and manufacture, which a lot of people do. I have no complaints with them. Manufacturing coolies is not a bad thing to do. You can do that, but we are not capable of doing that. We want to develop technology, the heart and soul, and ensure what we're giving to the Indian Armed Forces is absolutely clean, malware-free, no cyber threats, no security threats. So we want to ensure that. So we are open to OEM tie-ups, but definitely we are looking at ensuring that we are, we give you absolutely cutting-edge products to the Indian government.
And in which areas would that be in particular?
So we are okay with electronic warfare. We are okay with simulators. We are okay even with the new area. But provide again, our test for going into any new product is this: if we go into this 3 to 5 years from now, will we be able to deliver the global #1 product to the Indian Armed Forces? If we are not sure about it, we don't want to venture into that. So if we were to tie up with somebody, some partner, we would tie up with this understanding that even if they're global #1, if they tie up with our R&D capability, they definitely can become global #1. And that's what we would like to deliver to the Indian Armed Forces. So the point here is we are open to tie-ups, but they should come, open up their, and co-develop, do R&D with us to develop the next generation of thing while we deliver it to the Indian Armed Forces.
So, Mr. Atluri, on the domestic side, we've already seen the importance of anti-drone systems after Operation Sindoor. Along with that, you just spoke about the increasing focus in simulators as well. Domestically, the government is doing its bit in terms of where the budget is concerned. Even on the global side, what we are seeing is increased allocation in terms of where the defense spending is concerned. Considering all of these positives that we are looking at, are there any still challenges as well that a company like Zen Technologies faces?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, buy IDDM versus buy Indian is something completely different. You have to, if you do buy Indian, you're letting for a backdoor for foreign companies to come in. So if that is one issue that we may be facing. But and the second is, of course, that the procurement cycle should be faster. Procurement cycle should be faster. You can't have a 3-year, 5-year kind of procurement cycle, because we are actually depending on faster money to come in. Then we do next generation of. If I develop something now and you buy it after 5 years, this would mean that I have 2-3 generations of next product has gone. So if you were to get it down to 1.5 year, recycle me, I would keep developing the next generation faster. And again, these companies that do R&D are not many, very frankly. So you have to really protect and nurture them like strategic national assets. Zen has become, we really don't need the nurturing. Now we are on our own. But the smaller companies which are able to do this, they should be nurtured. I mean, how can, if they are capable of developing a world-class product, you should give them everything to ensure that they are able to do that. Remove all the impediments, make them embrace them and ensure that they are able to do this. So, if we have these 100, 150 companies like, that ability to develop, and we have to just focus on the Pareto areas. We don't have to do tanks and artillery and all that thing, even though we can. But the thing is, now the war is shifting. It is evolving into a drone, anti-drone, electronic warfare, satellite-based communication. So we need to identify some Pareto within the next thing and focus. Pareto means 20% of the war equipment that will determine 80% of the outcome. So identify some companies to work on this 20% and really unleash everything onto them. Give them all the power, all the money, and access to the armed forces. I think then we are arrived in 5 years. I personally think that we'll become global number 1. But faster procurement cycle is very, very important.
So just let me summarize for a Zen perspective, okay? So in 5 years timeline, we expect to be number 1 in terms of where the simulation market is concerned. In the
anti-drone segment
anti-drone
also.
as well. So in the near term, you're also seeing about a 6,000 crore of a cumulative top line. This is by FY28 that we are looking at, with a margin profile of 35% being there in picture. Any other guidance that you would want to give for the long term for maybe let's say FY30?
I would not give any financial guidance. I think I am, already my board says, stop giving financial guidance. So, but one thing I'll definitely like to say is that we are going to get into a couple of more segments. And by 2030, we will have a clear picture that we will be global leaders in them. And there will be Pareto technologies.
Okay.
So we are definitely getting into more deeper R&D and creating great products for the country. So absolutely, and they'll be number 1. There is no number 2 in that position. So I think that is one thing I can promise.
Okay, very interesting outlook there. Thank you so much, Mr. Atluri. Yeah. And thank you so much for again inviting us to your demo center and showing us what this means for us. Once again, looking forward to more interactions in future.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming. Take care.
Thank you.